second home. We come to conquer, no we never walk alone. We dominate, the cream of the crop, drawing all our strength from the roar of the cock. It's all for one, and one for all. Pass a new, we're talking total football. Here we go again, Roy's red machine. Liverpool, the greatest team the world has ever seen.
Hello, welcome back to the Liverpool Groove. I'm going on my own today, but I am delighted to say that joining me is former Red, David Raven. Thanks very much for joining me, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm well. Thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Yeah, pleasure all mine. So yeah, get straight to it. Got a good bit to ask you. Different points of your career. So you joined Liverpool April 2001 from Tranmere's academy. What was that like when you got the sort of call from Liverpool?
It was I was like 14, and so was it 14-ish around that time? Yeah, so I was playing for Tranmere at the time, Whittle schoolboys, and I started attracting a bit of attention off different clubs. So obviously Liverpool being one, as Everton, United, Blackburn, all the sort of Northwest clubs. And although Liverpool was like, I'm a Liverpool fan, it wasn't the case of, right, I'm just going to go. Although like that was my heart, I was thinking, well, let's think about this logically. I'm trying to make at that point I started thinking, there's could be something in this for me, you know what I mean? Whereas before then, you don't really think about a career in football. But at the time, I went to Blackburn. I'd look at them because they were brand new academy, and then I went up to Man City as well. Sat down with Joe Royle, and I'm very, very close to joining them because I knew a couple of lads there. There was a pathway into the first team. Obviously, there isn't now. You know what I mean? It's different now, but back then it was the Man City of old. And I looked at it, and then eventually it was, we had a lot of games called off, and I loved it at Tranmere. I loved it. We had a good side, the coaching was great and all that, but just the facilities weren't great, and we had a few games called off, and then eventually I was like, what am I doing here? Like, all these academy games are on, like Liverpool, all this. And I said, well, I need to leave. This is it. I need to go. And I just remember making my mind up. I went over the water to have a look at the training and the new academy over in Kirby. Came back, said, yeah, that's where I'm going. And my dad said, right, sorted. I said, yeah, that's me. So I did give other teams a chance. I give Everton a chance and a good look at things. I say Blackburn were very good at the time of getting people through the youth systems, and as were Man City and the others, obviously United and stuff. I didn't touch United, but like that was just a step too far, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did have a good look, but I just my heart just came into it. I just need to join this club. Yeah, that was it.
When you're having them initial conversations with the clubs, is that what they outline at the start? Is it like the pathway to the first team, what that looks like for you if you progress how they feel you should?
Yeah, no, yeah. I suppose it's not like so you start talking about your YT, what do you call it? You call it YT, then YTS scheme, the youth training scheme, and you start talking about that and numbers and stuff. And we weren't really interested in. I remember my mum and dad saying, we don't really want to talk about money. It's pointless. He's too young, and it's and it was that pathway. Is there a realistic pathway to the first team? I mean, even I've thought about like going to like a Sheffield Wednesday or something, because I thought, he might be able to get into the first team then, and blah blah. You know what I mean? That I did think quite logically like that, but it was just one of them where I just had to join Liverpool. That was it.
Yeah. And who was it that you met at Liverpool? You said you spoke with Joe Royle at City. Was Gerard Houllier involved in the negotiations there?
No. So it was just Stevie Highway and Jim Aspinall was chief scout there, and he was on the phone on a Sunday. So again, it's that far back that we didn't have mobiles, and he just ring your house phone on a Sunday. Makes me feel so old.
Showing your age there.
Yeah. Honestly, it was Sunday night came, and it'd be like, here we go, and the phone started ringing. It was different. Archie Foxley was another one. He lives around the corner from me up in Greasby on the Whittle, and he's another one who was great. What a guy he is. Good to see him still going strong. I see him sometimes, and he was the one. He was always on the phone and stuff. Come and join us and blah blah blah. And it was just that. So it's just him, Stevie Highway, and Jim Aspinall.
So obviously Gerard Houllier was the first team manager at the time when you joined. Did he get down to Kirby often to watch the youth teams?
No. That was the. I mean, they've done it right now. The 10 years too late, in my opinion. Not too late, but it's 10 years, a massive gap of having two separate sites that I never understood. And he was just always first team. I never really you wouldn't see him. You wouldn't see first team lads. He'd just be purely in the academy in Kirby doing your own thing, until eventually I moved up to Melwood. And I started getting a bit stale. I was playing under 19s football when I was under 17, so I was playing 2 years up, and then I sort of stayed at that level. But I was just I just got a bit stale, and so they needed to push me on. I remember John Owens was the coach, and he said, he's saying you're either he's going to go stale, or and we lose him, or we need to start stimulating him again. So they pushed me up to Melwood to come train with the first team and the reserves there. So, and it did the job. It kicked me on again, because it was finding like my confidence was dropping, as I was just like, well, where's this going? What am I doing? You know, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was when I went up to Melwood and joined there. Yeah.
Was Houllier still there when you got moved to Melbourne, or was that Rafa?
Yeah, Houllier was the manager. Yeah. For not that long. Probably, I don't know, 6 months or so, I think.
Right.
Yeah, like that. Yeah.
And then obviously Rafa comes in. I know you impressed during his first pre-season, started sort of being involved in match day squads a little bit more. What was it? Was it weird for you that being part of that squad? Because I've read a few things, and like you felt, I've seen that you felt like you were sort of on like the periphery of the squad. Was that a weird feeling for you?
Yeah, I don't have time to compare it to, really. And it was, I was on the periphery, or what, I was sort of in and out. I got my chance against Tottenham in a cup and the League Cup. I felt that I did take it after a nervy start, and then I thought, right, here we go. Like, and I look back now in hindsight, and I always remember Alex. Oh God, Alec. My God, I can't remember his second name. Anyway, he's
Alex Miller.
Say again.
Alex Miller.
Yes, yeah. God, how can I forget it? He was just saying to me all the time, like, you need, like, get out your comfort zone, push yourself. And I felt that I couldn't do any more. I was working my hardest. I was fit and all that. You know what I mean? I was doing everything I could, and it just didn't. I just didn't quite make that next step. I think that's what it was. I've said since then that had I got 20 games, then yeah, I'd have found the level. I think that's what you do. But Liverpool need more than that. Liverpool need, well, look what Trent does to a right back. You know what I mean? It's like, it takes that to a new level, doesn't it? And I think that's what Liverpool require. At the time, Steve Finnan and Jossamy were in front of me. Steve Finnan, loads of respect for him, what a player he was. But Jossamy, again, not up to much. And he kept saying, like, get yourself in his shoes. You need to be next in line, sort of thing. And it just didn't quite happen. I remember the games I played in. We played in the League Cup at Crystal Palace, the FA Cup at Burnley, played in the league at Southampton, and all of those games we lost through no fault of my own. It was just bad team performances. We were going through a bit of a slump at the time, and I mean, the only one really doing anything was Steven Gerrard, and he was dragging the team like by himself, and so it was tough, really, to get that run of games. But you look back now and you find your level, and you do find your level. I probably just wasn't good enough and didn't quite have. There's a couple of things I do differently. There is a couple of things I do differently, but finding that belief that I am a Liverpool player, I don't think I quite had that. And I look back now, and that's quite frustrating.
Is that down to, you look at, like you say, Steve Finn, fantastic player, probably the most underrated player we've ever had. But then you look at someone like Yossamy, never really set the world alight, and then you're looking at someone like him getting games over you. Does that then go to you, what else have I got to do here?
Possibly, yeah. Sometimes, yeah, it can be demoralising, yeah. But you're also surrounded by international players. You're looking around, you've got Xabi Alonso and Didier Mann and John Arisa and like Stevie G and Jamie Carragher. Like, am I up to this level? Am I as good as these lads? You know what I mean? There's always that niggling down. I just think the lads who go on and kick on and make it, I've got that belief in themselves. Yeah, I fully belong here, but I never really felt that, and that was my issues. You know what I mean? Now, whether that would have come, give me a bit more time, then yeah, maybe. But it was just the case where it's a results business, and yeah, it just became. I remember a point where I'm looking around. I was in the England setup at the time. I was captain of England up to under 20 level, and I'm playing in England games with mean, like James Milner, Wayne Routledge, Gary Cahill, and these lads are playing week in, week out in the Premier League. And then we had lads in the Championship playing like Richard Chaplow, like 40 odd games, 50 games in the Championship that year. And I'm thinking, wow, I need to get out here. I need to go and play because I'm going like this again. Do you know what I mean? And like just playing back to reserve football where there's no crowd. Because the minute you're playing the first team, then you go and play at the racecourse ground on a Tuesday night in Wrexham. It's like, whoa, yeah, this is a big difference. Yeah. And so you need that again, you know what I mean? And I just went chasing it, and I left Liverpool then with a year left on my contract, because I knew I had to go and play. So
I did. I read about that, to be fair, as well. And I think the Burnley game, the FA Cup one, obviously famous for the Jimmy Traore own goal. And I've read you speaking, highly about Jimmy. He was a great lad, good player, very underappreciated, I think. But I don't know how true this is. I read something about Rafa coming into the dressing room and basically saying, you blew your chance to make a stake in the first team. Is there any truth behind that?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah. Basically his team talk after the game was all you younger lads, that's you done. So you're not gonna that was your chance, do you know what I mean? To go and play more games and you've blown it. And he was right. I can't argue with that. The league was more important and still is, isn't it? So that game, it was the pitch was a bog, it was a leveler, you know what I mean? It could have gone sort of either way, and Jimmy does that. It'd be nice to have just got a replay and back to Anfield and beat them there, because we would have done. But I remember it was called off, and then we then replayed because the pitch was that bad, but it was still a bog, and it just, you could hardly stand up on it, you know what I mean? And when it's like that, it is a leveler.
Definitely.
It's tough for anyone to play well, but yeah, it was that did happen. That's probably where he gets his reputation for being cold, I imagine. That's what people say. I
think probably one of them things you got to do at the top, isn't it? No sentiment.
I've got no qualms with that. I've got no qualms with that at all. Yeah, we did let ourselves down, so it's that's it.
But you did get to make your Premier League debut coming on for Sami Hyypiä, big boots to fill straight away. But then Harry Redknapp sending Peter Crouch out to your side to defend him for 25-30 minutes. What was that like? That must have been a bit mad for you.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. I mean, look back again, you got sort of hazy memories of it, but like I do remember Harry Redknapp. Yeah, get on him. So a young lad comes on. He just comes out to left wing. Next minute, diagonal after diagonal's coming on. And again, it was a game where I come on for the last 25 minutes, but I think we 1-0 down away at Southampton, playing badly. Do you know what I mean? And so, I need to go and try and make things happen. It was a tough one. It was just after the Burnley game, and believe it or not, my legs were still stiff from that because of the pitch was so heavy. I remember being before it, Stevie Warnock, we were walking through the town and just having a walk in the morning. He said, "You're playing here, by the way. I think you're going to play." And I was like, right, okay, yeah, sounds. So I was preparing to play, you know what I mean? And but yeah, anyway, I get on, and it was great. Do you know, it's just a brilliant experience. I mean, seeing the Liverpool fans in the corner, even though we got beat 1-0, it's just that support's unbelievable. Them away fans, and you go away. I remember going away to Europe. By Leverkusen, we played in the Champions League, and one of the funny things I did, actually, I was on the bench and I carried on warm. I had for some reason in my head I thought we could make 5 subs, but you can't now, like we couldn't then. And so I'm warming up, and 3 subs have been made, and I'm still up and down warming up, and I just remember just looking like all Liverpool fans are just jumping up and down and winning something like 4-2, and come back in, and Didier Man's like, "Where have you been?" I was like, "I've just been warming up." Like, this is the most stupid thing I've ever seen in my life. He said, "I'm going to put this in my book." He said, "You can't get on anymore. There's a 3 subs." I was like, "Oh yeah."
Obviously, yeah. I mean, you were there. I know you were on the bench a few times in the Champions League, and you managed to get on the pitch in Istanbul, with the celebrations and that. But again, reading, about yourself, and you didn't really feel. You felt like, did you feel like more of a fan at that moment than a player?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't earn that at all. Do you know what I mean? And like I jumped all over the bandwagon. Absolutely, got on the bus we were offered to get on the bus. Said absolutely, yeah, I'll get on that. I mean, we were lucky with that. That's like another story. But yeah, I did feel, yeah, I didn't earn that. I didn't play a minute in the Champions League. So them going and winning it, I was more of a fan, 100%. Yeah. Done other things in my career that I like counts higher than that because it didn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
So, I was there, appreciated it, great experience on the pitch after, changing rooms, all that sort of stuff, mixing with the players after, it was great. But yeah, I didn't earn it, so yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, you end up leaving Liverpool with a year left on your contract and going to Carlisle, I believe, was after Liverpool.
Yeah, well, I went to Tranmere on loan first. For the last 3 or 4 months of the season. Again, and I just went when it was League One relegation fight, so it was baptism of fire. It was tough. Some good sides in the league and that, and I'd actually got injured in playing for Liverpool in a reserve game. We played it. Steven Gerrard was playing and he came on for like half an hour, so there was thousands of people turned up to watch him. Do you know what I mean? And I hurt my knee, done my medial, just tweaked it, but it lasted for weeks and weeks and weeks. But I went to Tranmere, I said, yeah, I'm fine, and I wasn't, like, so I was playing there, sort of not fit, which I didn't, give myself the well, I wasn't 100%, so you can't imagine. I look back, I think didn't play that well when I went there. But anyway, Carlisle came in the summer. I went up there, and I was again team on the up in League One. Good feel about the place. So yeah, do you know what? I needed to get away. I thought I needed to go and get my head down and just be a footballer, work hard, see where it takes me. And it was a tough move for me. First time away from home. Went up there. Away from friends, family, everyone, and it was tough for the first few months, and especially the fans up there had this fans' favourite who was the right back from the year before, chanting his name and booing me and all this. I was like, oh my god, this is hard. That was tough. That was one of the hardest times of my career. Yeah, getting booed by your own fans, and then eventually I won them over and ended up having some of the best times of my life up there, like for 4 years. Done really well. Should have gotten to the champ. Got beat by Leeds in the semi-final playoff stuff. It was brilliant times for me. And then broke down with a hip injury, which sort of nearly cost me my career.
Right.
Lucky to get over it and keep playing afterwards, to be honest. So yeah.
Was that something in training or was just
was wear and tear? So I had a hip impingement. So I went to see this specialist. I kept breaking down with this groin, just like tendons, like a rope, and went down to see specialist because he just kept breaking down. He said, "You've got a problem with your hip. You need an operation." It was a 6-month layoff. But then when I came back, I kept breaking down again with different things. So eventually it cost me probably 2 years of my career. And I'd left Carlisle at that point, joined Shrewsbury, played good football there, but again, kept breaking down with bits and bobs to do with my hip, needing injections. Went to Tranmere, again, same thing happened there. And I'm thinking, wow, this is finished. This is done. So went and done a plumbing course. Got qualified as a plumber through the PFA. And then out of the blue comes a phone call from Inverness, Terry Butcher in Scotland. So I was like, right, okay, let's go. Yeah.
Well, speaking of Inverness, I've again seen that, saying Inverness was probably your best years as a player. What was so good about playing there?
It was just playing in Scotland in the SPL. I loved it. It was just felt like I was a footballer again. I was fighting for something. We had a great side. We had lads, like the likes of Ryan Christie now down at Bournemouth, Graham Shinney and people like that went down to play in the Championship in England. So we had a top side. So we were beating Celtic regular, up there, finishing third. And again, we went on to win the Scottish Cup, which was just a major thing for us. I scored the winner in the semi-final against Celtic at Hampden. That is just career highlight stuff in the last minute of extra time. That's like pinch yourself stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just what a place to live. It's beautiful as well. Do you know what I mean? Everything. And we had 2 kids up there, me and my wife. So it was just a brilliant time in my life. Like for 6 years, it was just brilliant. And I was in the peak of my career, like that age where you know, up to 32 is that golden period. So everything just went really well. Everything went right. And it was just, yeah, I just absolutely loved it. Yeah. Yeah.
What was Teddy Butcher like? Obviously, I imagine for yourself being a defender, getting a call from someone like Teddy Butcher must have been like great for you.
Yeah, it was, yeah. It was like, wow, all right. I didn't even know where Inverness was, never heard of them. Like, but I knew just they were playing in the SPL. I thought, well, that's me. I'm going, you know what I mean? And we had no other choice. That was it. I was at that point in my career where I didn't really have any other choice. And my wife was working here as a teacher and said, right, we just need to up sticks and go. If I'm going to do this, it's only going to last so long. Let's go for it. And we did. And oh yeah, it's Eddie Butcher. What a man! What a character! He's a brilliant man. Still speak to him very rarely now. I say the last time I spoke to him a couple of years back. But absolute headbanger. I've honestly smashes the change room up. I've seen nothing like it. I mean, I got up there. I've seen gaffers lose the rag, but not like this. I was thinking, oh my God, he's smashing it up. He's like, there's chairs and things going, and there's all bottles going around the changing room, and all. I'm like, we only drew 1-1, like, you know what I mean? Like, what's going on here? Like, oh God. But then he'd come in on a Monday morning with a big tray of cakes, like as if to apologize to the lads. Like, here you go, lads, let's have a cake and let's have a chat about it. Oh, there's some funny things he used to do. God, he tried to, like, we had this slow closing door and he's trying to slam the door and he just keeps going slower and he's like making a fool of himself trying to kick things and but he was funny. He was great. I loved him. He man management wise, brilliant, up there with the best man managers. Coaching wise wasn't great, which I was surprised about, but man manager, he was great. To get a team together and knitted, bonded was great. I mean, a couple of lads used to go out on a Saturday night and sometimes to get themselves into trouble. So Monday morning comes, he's had a phone call, we've had a lad in jail or something, you know, someone's done something stupid. And he pulls us all in and he'll say, right, lads, sit us down, tell me what happened, tell me the truth, what happened. And the lads just would tell the truth. We had a few Irish lads from a rough estates in Dublin, so they didn't take any shit. So he'd say, the fan said something to me and pushed me, so I chinned him, and next minute we had a brawl and we all jumped in and he'd just say, did you win? And the lads would be like, yeah. And he said, that's fine. You're backing each other up and you won. I'm happy about it. And he would say, I'll do the rest. I'll look after the press. You lads he said, but do me a favor, try not to get into these fights. Do you know what I mean? But as long as you stick together, I'm not bothered. And that's the sort of thing that he created. You know what I mean? And the bond that we all had was just, he had a big part to play in that. Yeah, he was great.
Yeah. No, sounds like proper like brotherhood, what you need at a football club there.
Especially up there, because that's all we had. We had lads from all different places in England, and we'd all like up sticks to go. And you have to get on with people. You have to make it work. And if it works, then it can be a good thing, a really strong thing.
Yeah, definitely. So I know you had spells at the likes of Wrexham and Warrington Town as well, but a notable game sort of later on in your career was the FA Cup game against Tottenham with Marine.
Yeah.
What was that like? That must have been like a surreal experience for a club the size of Marine.
It was brilliant. Oh, I loved it. It was during lockdown, so it just kept me going, and it was just, well, I'm reading everybody's like down and depressed and stuff like this. It was just unbelievable for it to happen at that point in my career. I was, what was it, 37 or something like that? I can't remember, 36. But never thought something like that would come around again. We just went on this run again. We had this good side, like working for each other. And because this FA Cup run kept going, all these leagues were shutting down, but we were able to continue training. And, you know, we were just beating teams above us, like Chester and Colchester. We beat them away, and Havant and Waterlooville. So we're beating teams like 3-4 leagues above us. Next minute, like Tottenham, you think, oh my God, amazing. It was brilliant. I mean, I just gutted there was no fans there, because it was, I think, the week before the government announced again, you need to lock down. And we were just a bit disappointed there was no fans there. So that was the only thing. But other than that, it was great. I mean, yeah, what are you going to do against teams who are bringing on £30 million left backs and your lads are on 200 quid, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, it's unbelievable. But like, oh, it was great. It was great. And I never thought it'd come again. It really did, like, sort of put the icing on the cake of my career, if you like. I probably should have stopped then. At that point, I was like, you know, you start feeling things, and it's affecting your daily life in terms of work and stuff like that, because it takes its toll. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it was brilliant. We had, you know, I remember Jose Mourinho coming in the changing room and all that, and he knew what he was doing. So he came in the changing room and he had this Tottenham goalkeeper's shirt, and Tottenham had a keeper from Portugal on the bench or something like this, and we had our keeper who was from Portugal also on our bench. He said, "Oh, he's coming in. He wants to give this to your keeper," and I was pissed off at the time because I was like, "He's trying to." All the lads were like, "Whoa, it's Jose Mourinho who's coming." I was like, "Lads, he's the enemy. Like, you know what I mean? We've got to beat this today. We'll do that afterwards, boys. You know what I mean?" And they're like, their players are walking through, and we're like, a few of the boys like, "Oh, Joe Hart's quite tall, and he's taller than I thought," and all this. I'm like, "Boys," I said, I had to go out see the manager, Youngie. I said, "Youngie, you're gonna have to come in here, mate, and have a chat to the lads here because we're gonna get done 10." And he's like, "Why?" I said, "They're all looking at them, like wanting their autographs and that." And like, you know what I mean? I said, "Oh." So like after the game, a few of the lads like swapped shirts and all that, but I've never been one for that. I've just never been one to put people on a pedestal and you sort of downplay yourself. So in the end, there was a few t-shirts left, so I just picked up a Tottenham, was it Joe Hart on the back of it? I thought I'll grab that. Someone might want that, but I didn't like get it signed or anything like that. But it was good. It was really good experience. Loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think you're seeing there was a bit of a, I know it was during lockdown, but there was this sort of togetherness in the community as well. There was people
Yeah.
watching from their houses and things like that. And
Yeah.
that's what the FA Cup's all about, isn't it? Like you love
Yeah.
these stories.
Oh, it was brilliant. And I think it did really give people genuinely something to look at and be like excited about. And people came out on the street. They probably broke the rules of lockdown at the time and came to clap us and all this when going through Crosby on the bus and stuff. And it did give people a proper lift. And you could see it. I mean, there was a few news bulletins and stuff that they'd interview the local residents, and they were just absolutely buzzing. And it's set the club up now for probably the next 20 years as well. Do you know, all the Tottenham fans bought virtual tickets. I think he sold 40,000 tickets and upwards of like 900,000 quid. You know, they put a 4G in. It's like, yeah, they set the club up massively. So it's there's just positive stuff came from it, and absolutely made up for them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I suppose with it being in lockdown, that Tottenham game could have been the difference between sort of Marine continuing to operate and not, I suppose, couldn't it?
Yeah. You're probably right. Yeah, and Marine. I mean, when I went, they weren't in a great place as a club. Youngie just took over, and he was trying to do all the right things. So the cup run just come from absolutely nowhere. And again, for my career, I remember finishing the game, and it was such a flat feeling because it's like, well, wow, what's next now? We had a party organised for the Radisson town, and that was cancelled, and all this, and you think, I don't know when I'm going to play football next day. You know, this lockdown nonsense going on. I was thinking, because I remember doing an interview and he said, "What do you think?" I said, "I don't know. I don't know if I can come back from a 6-month layoff, if that's what it is." As it happened, it wasn't that long, so I decided to carry on.
What attracted you to a team like Marine? Because obviously, like you said, you know, quite a bit down the football pyramid.
Nothing, to be honest. Youngie, I was, so when you finish playing at the levels I've played at, you know, you finish your career and people think you're a millionaire. You're not. You know what I mean? You've got a couple of quid behind you, not major money. So you have to then transition into work and stuff. And if someone's offering you a few $100 a week to come and play part-time footy on top of your full-time wage, you do it. You've got 2 kids, you've got a family and stuff. And that's one of the reasons why I joined Warrington Town. It was like never on my agenda to do. It was always right. I'm a full-time footballer. I want to stay professional in terms of what I'm remembered as. I want to be a coach now. Do you know what I mean? And had I probably got a full-time coaching role straight away, I probably wouldn't have played football. But then as time went on, I realised actually how much I needed it, how much I needed to play football. And it being part-time over a period of time weaned me off the drug of training every day, of being around that environment every day, and did not help me to transition away from football. And I was still in that position when like Youngie came knocking and, "Do you want to join Marine?" And I thought, well, yeah, it's an extra however much it was a week for me, wife and kids on top, because, you know, I wasn't earning great money coaching and stuff like that. And that, again, that was at a major thing to do with it. And again, when I did it, it became one of the best things I ever did. You know what I mean? It was because I love football and I was well respected there and everything else, and keeps you fit. So I just did it for those reasons. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and when you get into the club like Marine, and some people aren't half passionate about it, and the fans there, you got like a little hardcore group of fans that are passionate about it. You sort of get that, like, I don't know, that feeling again where you're full time. You feel like you're full time again. Do you know what I mean? It feels like a bit of a club again, and it's good to be part of. And I think it's just that it's been part of the environment. It's been part of that sort of, you're trying to achieve something. And like even now, like I'm continuing in coaching role, do more hours than I've ever done, not playing. I'm assistant manager at Warrington Town now, and you just think the addiction of just trying to achieve something and being in that environment, I think that's what it is. It keeps you coming back, and it just keeps you coming back. It's all you've ever done. It's what you love. And I think that's probably why I carried on as long as I did.
Yeah. So you've kind of already answered this, but so going part-time, did that massively help that transition from player to coach in the end?
Yeah, it probably did. Yeah. Yeah. It did. It gave me time to sort of hone coaching skills when I was working for a company in private schools, which was great, running football academies, and then doing this on top. It didn't half help. It does wean you, excuse me, it does wean you off the drug. It does wean you off. I mean, I know a lot of lads can just walk away from it, and I thought I could, and I look back now, there's no chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's helped a lot, yeah. And I'd say now it's like I'm a coach at Warrington Town with them, and it's great. Absolutely love it.
And how's things going this season with Warrington?
Yeah, we're doing well. We're up there at the minute in the playoffs as our Marine. We're in the same league now, so it's all to play for. I think we're sitting third or fourth, but it's tight. The sort of top 7 or 8. There's only a couple of points between us, and it's great. The challenges like, you know, of part-time football, massive. Obviously, time-wise, you're not going to spend as much time with the players. We train Tuesday, Thursday. Facilities-wise, you know, we don't get the same facilities. All this sort of the challenges are massive, and although it's part-time, it's basically full-time. Me and the manager, we speak every night. We're planning things. We're looking at footage of other teams, how to play against them, footage of our own team, and our own performance analysis. And it's only us two. So the learning curve that I've gone through the last 18 months has probably been as big as any learning curve that I've ever had. You know what I mean? So it's been brilliant.
Yeah. So alongside that, I believe you're the director at K2 Performance.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a company I've started with. You probably might know Mark Leyland was analyst at Liverpool. He's gone to Newcastle now. He's actually going to Man City in the summer. With him, another lad, Paul Parry, Martin Robinson. So we basically, again, it come from non-league footage. It's basically a footage sharing platform in non-league where it happens all through the league. So when you play Liverpool, play Tottenham, you know, I know everybody sees it on Sky, but their games then go on Huddle, so you know they can analyze each other's games and stuff like that. And it doesn't happen at non-league down in the Northern Prem where Warrington and Marine are and stuff. So we're sort of filling a gap, and it's an analysis tool, and it's a game match sharing platform where managers go on, put the games on, they can look at their opposition, they can look at their own games and stuff. But it's a basic stripped down version for lads who are working, because everybody's working men, to do in your sort of lunch hour. Yeah, and it's going quite well. We're trying to branch out into the Isthmian at the minute, which is the sort of Central Belt League for the same level, because it's all regionalised.
Yeah.
So it's going quite well, yeah.
Do you think that's going to help non-league if it goes as well as you hope? Is that something that can really help push non-league football to the next level?
Yeah, that's our idea with it, yeah. Because, I mean, when you do go up the levels, it becomes a norm anyway. That's what you have to do. So we're trying to say, well, let's say you're a manager, I'm a manager, we both share each other's games on this platform. You can see me, I can see you. So there's no secret. So then what you have to do is improve your team, and I have to improve mine, because I know you're looking at me, so I need to do something different. And we constantly need to evolve, and the whole thing just gets better and better as the footage gets shared, because everybody has to improve. And if you don't improve, you get left behind. So that's the sort of main sort of idea with it. And we do see it going that way, and it has gone that way. The elite levels do it all the way down to the Conference North. So we're the next level down, and we see us be filling that gap.
And has that been all off your own back, or have you had any like funding from the FA towards it or anything like that?
No, it's all from our own back. Yeah, it's all. We have got in touch with a company, a contact of Mark Leyland, and they built the platform. It was already built as such, this platform. We just tweaked it and changed it to be football related, and so we've just done it all just on our own back. Yeah, and it's just something else, another job for me, trying to keep that one going as well.
Yeah,
So
it sounds great. I mean, if it helps push non-league football to a better level, then you know, more power to you. It sounds amazing. So good luck with it.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah,
right. So moving on to Liverpool a little bit for this season, and I think it's safe to say it hasn't been a great season. Last two league games gave us a bit of optimism. Madrid then came and battered us. It's the only real word to use for it. What do you think's gone wrong for Liverpool this season?
Do you know what? It's just been well documented, hasn't it? I think you can see. I don't watch enough Premier League and Liverpool football to be well versed on it. I watch the highlights. I'll listen to Carragher and Neville talk about it, but because my life is now looking at other games and stuff, I generally do that. So Liverpool on a telly, I'll watch them. So I mean, we were working the other night against Madrid, so didn't see that, but I saw the derby. So I watched them when they're on. But it's just, for me, from the day one, there's something wasn't right. And I said to my dad at the start of the season, I said, there's something not right. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, I don't know. I said, I just look at Jurgen Klopp and he just doesn't look right. He looks wiped. He looks done. And this was like 2 or 3 games in. And he said, no, don't be daft. He's all right. And I stick by it now that I think a lot of this year is a massive hangover from last year. I think they've left it all on the line and it didn't happen. And it's just like, well, the demoralization and the exhaustion they felt, I think, had a massive effect. On top of that, you've got injuries, you've got people who can't do what they used to be able to do. And it's just been compounded, hasn't it, into one big, like, story, if you like that. We're not playing as well as we can. And it just needs freshening up for me. It needs freshening up. The way Klopp has his team playing, I think you're getting like 3 or 4 years out of lads and you've got to move them on. It just seems to wear them out a lot quicker. Like Jordan Henderson just can't do what he did last year.
Yeah.
He just doesn't seem to be able to do it. He's getting older and all of it, I experienced it myself. All of a sudden it hits you and you think, oh shit, I can't get that. Last year I was getting it, you know what I mean? So I think we've had a few of that, and obviously injuries, we've missed a lot of players, but yeah, it's just been a bit of a perfect storm, hasn't it, for, you know, things to go not as well as they could have done. Everybody had like high expectations, and to get so close to being invincible last year on it must be so tough to take.
Yeah, definitely.
All on the line, you lose out in the Premier League by points, and you get beaten a European Cup final to get all 4. You're invincible, aren't you? And then, so but listen, I got faith. I got faith in a Klopp and the manager and his staff and all that. It's like, it's just, this for me is a cycle. It's a transition period for them again. And give them a year, 2 years, maybe back to where it was again. We haven't got the finances that City have got to just go and splash out on other teams. You know what I mean? And look where Arsenal are now. That's been a process of a couple of years. Yeah. You know what I mean? This is what happens. So I think we're in that bit of a cycle phase again, where we need to get fresh players through, get players back fit, get through this season. Let's just write it off.
As soon as possible. What would a sort of perfect summer look like in your eyes?
Perfect summer? Yeah,
in terms of like transfers and outgoings and stuff like that.
I don't know. I don't know. That's really that's a tough one. But when players that aren't playing so well, they get a lot of stick, don't they? And it's and then you say we'll get rid of them in the summer, but I really don't know. I'm not like, it's hard for me to turn around and say, you know, because Joe Gomez gets a bit of stick the other night, but I think he's all right, you know what I mean? And then you're looking at like Thiago, is he past his best yet? You know, I don't know. You know what I mean? Everybody's got their own little opinions. Like Trent's had a poor year, hasn't he? But like, you're not gonna like just ship these lads out because what they've done in the past. It's like, and he's still such a young lad.
Yeah.
You know, he's still one of the best footballers in the Premier League. Stuff like this. So I don't know. I'm not, as I say, well versed enough to give a qualified opinion on that. And I, you know, me knowledge of players across Europe isn't big enough as well if I who's to bring in. So yeah,
fair enough. One last one then, like you mentioned them there, Trent, not having the greatest of seasons, but he's been phenomenal for us over the last few years. As a right back yourself, like how much has he changed the game?
Oh, he's changed it massively. He's fundamentally changed it. I think Pep, with the way he started playing, changed it. And then Jurgen Klopp comes in and puts his style on top of it. Next minute, you've got this like machines run up and down the wing with him and Robbo on either side, and it's just phenomenal what they can do with the ball. He's doing 50, 60-yard diags and finding people that you'd think I didn't. You know, sometimes you watch the telly and you're thinking you can see passes, and you're on the pitch. It's not you know, you struggle to see it. He sees it before you've even seen it on the telly. You know what I mean? He's that good. But then I do watch him other times, and I'm like, you need to get yourself in position, mate. You know what I mean? You're out of position, and you get. I remember watching him a few times, and I just, oh my God, he's got away with that one. He's got away with this one. I went to Wembley for the cup final, and I was quite high up, and I thought he was caught out of position a lot, and we just got away with it.
Yeah.
But I think now we're not getting away with it. I think that's what it is, and he's changed his game a lot. You can see that he's changed. He's and Liverpool have changed around him as well in terms of they know that he's he can be got at, and so that alters the team. Do you know what I mean? It's got a big thing on it. But he's what a phenomenal footballer. What a talent. You know what I mean? Keep nurturing that. He'll be back. He was one of the best right backs in Europe for a couple of years, wasn't he? Let's be honest. So he's not he's finished that by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, that was everything I have for you, David. I really appreciate you taking the time out to join me today.
No, you're welcome. Yeah, thanks. Enjoyed that. It was good. Cheers.
Yeah, me too. And you know, best of luck with Warrington and best of luck with K2.
Appreciate that. Ta. Cheers,
No worries, mate. Take care.